Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mount Olive. We're very pleased to be here today and very pleased to have Governor Murphy here, and congratulations on your reelection. This is a wonderful backdrop to the important words that the governor has to say today on the environment. And with that, Governor Murphy, the microphone is yours.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you. Good to be back, man. Thank you, Rob. Great to be here. What a setting, huh? Bear with me 1 second here. I think this all could get blown away here if we're not careful. So good morning to everybody. A real treat and honor to be here. My thanks first and foremost to Mayor Rob Greenbaum for welcoming us to Mount Olive, to you and members of your council. Thanks for your leadership and thank you for hosting us so graciously. A lot of folks are here today. I want to mention a few of them. The Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection, Sean LaTourette, is with us. The President, let's give. Okay, there we go. What happened to your finger? Man, I hope that wasn't related to the microphone. To Sean's left, the President of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso. Joe, great to have you. The Director to Joe's left of the Clean Energy Sector at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and this is a pretty cool part of the EDA. Pallavi Madakasira is with us today. Pallavi, great to have you. Also to her left, Kim, I'm not sure who's sitting next to your left, but we're going to Pallavi's left is a dear friend, Kim Gaddy of Clean Water Action. God bless you, Kim. Great to have you. And I've lost Ed. Ed is here, the president of the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters, Ed Potosnek. Ed, great to have you. We're also joined, this is a little bit of an exercise in who's to the left here, but to his left, the director of the Morris County Board of Commissioners and good friend Steve Shaw. Steve, thank you for having us. And to his left, the Morris County Administrator, John Bonani. John, great to have you. And your Deputy Administrator, Dina Leary. And we've got a lot of brothers and sisters in organized labor with us today, and I want to give them a shout out, whether it's IBEW, the operating engineers, or others in between, including a guy who's brothers with a very close friend of mine, Matt Callahan, who's here today. So where we are this morning shows us the remarkable potential for turning sites which had until now only presented a host of environmental challenges and other problems for communities into places that can contribute to a better future for our residents and our state. And it gives us a reason to take our already aggressive goals and move them up a notch. From a former Superfund site will rise, as you can see, a solar field capable of providing clean energy for 4,000 homes and businesses. This is the largest such landfill reclamation in the United States of America. And in the process, we're going to create up to 200 good-paying, largely union jobs. And with that, I want to give a shout out to some private sector leaders who are with us today. Gary Cicero, right in front of me, who is of CEP Renewables, Garrett Lerner of NJR Resources, and Matt Skidmore and Chris Ichter from CS Energy, whose partnerships are leading this effort. Let's hear it for our respective leaders. A couple of months ago, when we broke ground on the South Jersey wind port, I noted that New Jersey is changing a long-held and incorrect narrative that we could either have good jobs or a cleaner environment, but not both. It is projects like this that are flipping this narrative on its head. We can create good jobs right here in New Jersey and put our state on a more sustainable and resilient energy future, and no sector proves this promise more than I was able to do that even all by myself. I'm very proud of that, I just want to say. A lot has been written about the offshore wind projects we are planning off our coasts, and all of that is written is richly deserved. But let's not forget that solar energy is just as critical a part of a clean energy and energy-independent future. And with sites such as this, we can see why. I also give a shout out to Jane Cohen, who runs our whole green economy operation. Jane, where are you? Thank you. She is to the left of Rich Gannon. And nobody is to the left of Rich Gannon. So this is, again, up to 200 jobs. Clean energy to power 4,000 homes and businesses. Home-generated energy that will reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and tackle head-on the challenges of climate change, exacerbated by greenhouse gas emissions. Nearly 4 years ago, we set a goal of creating a 100% clean energy economy by the year 2050, with an 80% decrease in state-generated greenhouse gas emissions from the 2006 levels. Now let's fast forward to today. Many residents and communities are still picking through the aftermath of flooding from the remnants of Hurricane Ida and storms that have come before that, including Henri, which have caused flash floods and all up and down the state. Report after report bears out the facts. The science is clear. More severe impacts are happening now. The time for wake-up calls is frankly long past. And while we can't turn back the clock, we also can't keep hitting snooze. Now is the time for bold action. So today, in a few minutes, I'm going to sign an executive order fast-tracking our goals for reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. This is not a course change, it is a course acceleration, with a new interim reduction in greenhouse gas emissions of 50% below the 2006 levels by the end of this decade, by the year 2030. Now, certainly more clean energy generation is a major step to this goal. But we have to remember that the largest source of climate change impacting emissions isn't energy production, it's transportation. So to help us in this area, the Department of Environmental Protection and the Board of Public Utilities are collectively dedicating more than $13 million to assist communities with long-standing air quality issues and the deleterious and multi-generational health impacts that have come with them, to electrify their school bus and municipal truck fleets. One of these, by the way, one of these communities is Dover, just a few towns away from here. And in a parallel effort, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority is taking steps to invest an additional $20 million in its popular NJ-ZIP program that works with an even broader array of communities looking to purchase electric, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles. This investment will be on top of the initial $15 million put forward as part of this program's first round of funding. These funds, by the way, are coming from the proceeds New Jersey has reclaimed because of our re-entry into the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. When I announced our decision to rejoin RGGI back in January of 2018, I noted that our exit from the multi-state partnership in 2011 had cost us nearly $280 million in carbon credit auction proceeds. We quite literally left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table that we could have had at our disposal to take some of these steps much earlier. Since our re-entry was finalized, and it took a long time to finalize, I have to say, in January of 2020, we have now taken in nearly $170 million in auction proceeds. That's an average of nearly $23 million each financial quarter. And these proceeds have helped fund 245 electric school buses, shuttle buses, public works vehicles, and delivery trucks since just this past February, vehicles which cumulatively will reduce carbon emissions by roughly 5,000 tons a year. Rejoining RGGI has allowed us to more effectively work alongside communities looking to do the right things to clean their air, to make the fight against climate change a local one, and to support the essential services that our residents need. Across its nearly 60-year history, this landfill has represented many things. For most of its life, this site represented our throwaway culture with all the long-term challenges that way of living produced. But today, it represents a more sustainable and energy-resilient New Jersey and all the opportunities that we are just beginning to realize. And with this new, more aggressive goal before us, we will not let these opportunities pass us by. We will grab them and pull our state into a stronger and cleaner future with all the good jobs that will come with it. Thank you. So before we get to the signing of the executive order, I want to give a few of those with us today the chance to share some thoughts. And with that, please help me welcome the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection, Sean LaTourette.
I appreciate that warm welcome, because I'll be honest, I'm not always that popular, right? Because people, when they think of DEP, they think, oh my goodness, I got to go get some permits from those tree huggers. It's going to be hard. But this work, the narrative, Governor, that you talk about that we must flip on its head, is incredibly motivating to the people that work at DEP, to the people of the BPU and our other fellow agencies. Because we know that when we unite the forces of economic development and environmental improvement, we together promote the public good. You know, I look back at this Superfund site, and I remember that it is the first Superfund site that I worked on in my career 20 years ago. And it's evidence of the fact that environmental problems take a long time to correct. What we must work together to correct now, through the goals that the governor is accelerating, is a problem that, through the course of our modern society, we've all created. Much like the garbage in this landfill created the Superfund site that we now get to reclaim and put folks to work and derive clean energy. We have such opportunity by confronting what is our greatest challenge. Opportunity to give folks good jobs, opportunities to improve the air quality in our communities, to clean up and revitalize old contaminated sites and bring new life to our community centers. But it only happens when we do it together, which is why I am so grateful for our partnership across the administration with the Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy, directed by Jane Cohen. Thank you for being a good partner, for corralling the folks across government to get us to do good, big, bold things. I'm excited for the work ahead. I'm excited that we're investing Reggie dollars into electrification of school buses and other equipment in environmental justice communities, because we will help to protect the air qualities that our kids breathe every day. And we will help lift everyone as we do this important work. So, Governor, thank you. Jane, thank you. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Sean. Joe, I will forego any jokes about the tenure of your service. Please help me welcome another great leader, the President of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso.
Thank you, Governor, and Sean, thank you for your kind words, and it's great to be here with you today. Not to be a downer, but I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, saw the United Nations panel report when they said climate change is code red for humanity. They weren't talking about 100 years from now. They were talking about this decade. And we are so fortunate in the state of New Jersey to have what I consider the greenest governor in America, who is bringing through his vision and making through his vision New Jersey to be the gold standard of renewable energy, not only in the United States, but the international recognition that we have gotten. I'm so proud that the Board of Public Utilities, along with our friends at DEP and EDA and throughout the administration, are able to bring to the citizens of New Jersey a better future. And the dedication of all the people who work with it. And I'm not going to talk very long because I'm afraid my hair will get messed up. That was a joke. There's not much hair up here. but it's vitally important. And Governor, when Woodrow Wilson and I started the BPU back in the early 1900s, we had this vision in mind. And we were just waiting for the right governor to come along, and we got it. So congratulations, and we will continue to work. And solar is a mainstay in our array of clean energy initiatives. And it's a pleasure to work with people like Jane and Hannah in the governor's office, because we all are focused on the same end result. New Jersey is number one. And as we continue in the next 4 years, we're only going to improve upon what we have done in the first 4 years. So I'm anxious to work with you. I'm anxious to, if you have any difficulties, you call me and we'll make sure we get them all straightened out. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Joe. A couple of things I wanted to underscore that Joe said. First of all, Jane and Hannah, I want to thank them again for great work. Secondly, we have spent a tremendous amount of time talking about offshore wind. I mentioned this in my own remarks, and that's rightful. We've got the #1 offshore wind program of any American state, and I think soon of any place in the world in terms of offshore wind. But we don't give solar enough airtime. And Rob, I was just saying to Rob, it's just you sit here and look at this, the scale of this thing is incredible. And I'll quote Rob saying it's the ultimate win-win-win. Printing more of these realities in the years ahead. Gary, you and I were talking about this. There's a lot of other exciting opportunities out there are going to be game changers. Please help me welcome, I mentioned her earlier, representing the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and Tim Sullivan, who I think is chairing a board meeting, if I'm not mistaken, as we speak right now. Please help me welcome the leader of the clean energy sector, Pallavi Madhukashira. Come on down, Pallavi.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak on behalf of Tim Sullivan, the CEO of NJEDA. I want to first of all thank Governor Murphy for your outstanding leadership, especially when it comes to tackling impacts of climate change, and for your bold, ambitious visions for a decarbonization future in the state. So it's funny you talk about how we talk a lot more about wind and not so much about solar. I started as a solar manufacturing engineer. I used to make panels, and I actually was one of the first teams in a company called SunPower that would make trackers. So this is home turf for me. So I'm incredibly thrilled to be back here. I'm also privileged and honored to be here amongst so many of you incredible leaders, Commissioner Lartrette, President Fiordaliso, Director Ed Potasnik, and Director Kim Gaddy, and Jane Cohen, Executive Director for the Office of Climate Action. To all of you who are dedicated to protecting our environment and to advancing environmental justice. Addressing climate change isn't just about creating a sustainable future for generations to come. It actually happens to present itself as a terrific opportunity to address the climate goals and vision that Governor Murphy has set out for the state. And the fact that Governor Murphy, you talked about course correction and more like course acceleration is incredibly exciting for us, especially when it comes to addressing emissions from the transportation sector. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority launched the New Jersey Zero Emission Incentive Program, or NJZIP for short, through an extremely collaborative effort with our partners at the DEP and the BPU and several other state agencies, along with the governor's office, so Hannah and Jane, to put together this NJZIP program. We launched in April this year. So we're not talking about that very long ago. Just a few months ago, we launched with a $15 million pilot program focused centrally on two communities, the Greater Newark and the Greater Camden area. The goal with this voucher is to ensure that businesses can purchase new medium-duty zero-emission vehicles to essentially offset the upfront cost of purchasing these vehicles so that it becomes in some cases, the cheaper alternative to diesel alternatives. The program was so successful that we then expanded the program by nearly another $10 million to the greater New Brunswick area. My colleague and teammate Victoria Carey and I are incredibly thrilled to share that over 75% of the applicants to this program have and continue to be small and micro businesses. So businesses with less than 15, or in some cases less than 5 employees. 50% of the applicants are certified minority women and veteran-owned businesses. So this is truly creating purposeful economic growth exactly where it matters, beyond just addressing emissions impacts in overburdened communities. Building on the success, we actually just took to the board, just less than 2 hours ago, actually Victoria Carey presented a $20 million expansion to the Greater Shore communities. And Governor, pending your approval, we will be able to launch this program and start accepting applications starting December 1st. We want to be the first to acknowledge that this is obviously not the only tool in the toolkit to achieve the goals laid out for the state. But it remains one of many interlocking efforts that must be developed and deployed statewide to serve as the foundation for New Jersey's zero-emission transportation evolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. One point that Joe made and Pallavi has underscored, we're doing all this not on the backs of the small business or of the municipality or the county or the consumer or the ratepayer. We're doing this in a way that works for folks, big and small. So thank you for that. Some quick words from 2 extraordinary advocates. First up is the National Environmental Justice Director for Clean Water Action. And I say National Environmental Justice Director, and I mean that. Not only does she have a huge throw weight in her advocacy in New Jersey, but well beyond New Jersey. Please help us welcome Kim Gaddy.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. You know, it is so great when we can have a governor that hears and sees us and allows us to participate in huge events such as this. So I have to personally thank Governor Murphy. You know, as the National Director of Clean Water Action, and my EJ group is the South Water Environmental Alliance in the city of Newark, I just can't thank him enough. When I saw the press release, I was like, wow, why didn't I get a call last week? Because this is huge. But we didn't do this by ourselves. So I want to acknowledge some of the groups that has worked for over the 3 years with Clean Water Action. Empower New Jersey Coalition, which consists of 100 groups, especially as steering committee members that include Blue Wave New Jersey, Delaware Riverkeeper Network, Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition, Environment New Jersey, Food and Water Action, and Sierra Club. And as I stated, it takes all of us to do this work. And I agree with our governor, and so glad that he has 4 more years to be stronger, fairer, and move us forward. Because we need this in New Jersey. We're in a serious crisis. Today we're here in Bud Lake, as well as, and I want to say that Manville and Mullica Hill, both which were hit, they were devastated by Ida on Long Beach Island and in my hometown of the city of Newark. We all know people are sick. They're struggling economically. They're being disrespected from the pandemic, and we say sandemic. The challenge to our democracy, racial discrimination, the struggle of a living wage, and the climate emergency, they all overlap. I see it every day. My kids and so many other kids who struggle with asthma and the inability, to breathe air. Seniors falling victim to heat waves and floods, literally drowning and oftentimes burning to death. We have to do more and fast, as our governor stated, much more much faster than currently planned. And that's why today's executive order is so important, and I can't continue to stress this. 50% reduction in climate emissions by 2030 is huge. The science requires this. Morality demands it. The solution, reducing climate emissions through rapid deployment of energy efficiency, conservation, and renewable energy, attacks these crises incredibly well and all at once. Not just climate, but health, race, democracy, and our economy. Reducing climate emissions improves public health, especially in overburdened communities and EJ communities, as our Commissioner Sean LaTourette stated earlier. Offshore wind alone means thousands of good jobs and billions of dollars in economic development and can build public trust. And that's what we need. 50% by 2030 means no false solutions and no more delays. It means implementation in the PAC rules that DEP is proposing over the next month or two. It means no new frack gas plants in the Meadowlands and Newark, poisoning the lungs of our children, seniors, and planet. And we're having a march today, and I'm going to be so glad to spread the news of what is happening here today. It means not only the solar fields just here in Gold Mine Road, but in Newark and so many other communities. It means zero emission trucks and buses right now to keep our kids' lungs clear. It means increase jobs and stop the extreme weather crisis now. Lastly, it also means Environmental Justice Alliance champions that have also been a part of this. They can begin to feel that the climate pollution reductions must be paired with co-pollutant reductions, especially in our overburdened communities. The governor understands we can't afford incremental change. We can't be patient. We have to do better, not only in New Jersey, but worldwide, as was stated. The science tells us that we have to reduce greenhouse gases by 50% by 2030, and this is what our governor's executive order will do. Otherwise, we face serious effects to our environment that will not be reversed. It might not be easy, but we can unite and do this together. We must, for our future children, grandchildren, and their children. We must unite for future generations with love and deep concern for all of our well-being. So I'm grateful and I'm hopeful. And thank you for seeing us and hearing us, Governor Murphy.
Kim, thank you as always. Kim, we didn't call you last week. We had a few balls in the air, but I apologize for not giving you the heads up, but that's my bad. One more speaker, another great advocate and a great friend and an elected official himself, the executive director of the New Jersey's League of Conservation Voters, Ed Potosnik.
Thank you, Governor, for having me this morning. All our friends, leaders, friends in labor, the business community. It's great to be here in a site, as we mentioned, that is being reclaimed for a clean energy future. New Jersey LCV was the first organization to endorse the governor. We're pleased that he's going to continue with his bold vision for 4 more years. We also wish the administration luck, Jane, Hannah, everybody else, President Fiorliso, Commissioner LaTourette, on making that a reality. It's hard work, like the construction equipment behind us. And I just have to say, we are in New Jersey, which is the epicenter of climate action. We're at the cutting edge. We're leading the nation in making bold steps that create good local jobs in the clean energy economy and provide opportunities for family for life-sustaining wages And we also can clean up our air, and we're seeing that happen. And it's just exciting to be here and be part of that. And we thank you for your leadership on that. I wanted to look back a little bit on some of the other steps on what I would say is a long staircase to the vision that has been outlined by the governor. He was the first governor in America to commit to 100% clean energy. And he signed in 2018 that commitment for 50% clean energy or electricity by 2030 into law, what we call the Clean Renewable Energy Bill. He updated New Jersey's renewable portfolio standard in that mix. The governor made a nation-leading commitment to offshore wind, which we heard about, to complement the work in solar, with 7,500 megawatts by 2035, soliciting the largest single-state bid for offshore wind. He authorized an executive order to re-enter the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which funds are being dedicated today to help reduce pollution. Wouldn't be available without that. Updating the Energy Master Plan to put the state on a path to 100% clean energy, and the Protecting Against Climate Threats Initiative. There's pages and pages of these, so I'm going to go quickly. But last year, he approved the boldest electric vehicle legislation in the nation to ensure New Jersey can rapidly transition to electric cars and other public transportation, buses, school buses, importantly for our young children. I'm on my school board. They're sucking in diesel fumes to and from school. It's not a good thing. He signed a cumulative impacts bill that my colleague Kim Gaddy mentioned to help reduce pollution in overburdened communities. Issued executive orders to establish statewide climate change resiliency strategies. With the help of First Lady Tammy Murphy, who's not here today, but implemented the first state in the nation to put climate change in our K-12 curriculum so that our young people can learn what is possible, what's happening, and what needs to be done. Created the Green Council on the economy, which will help generate good local union jobs that can't be outsourced. And these are just a few. I did take out a couple pages here. To make it a little bit faster. But this is a big step today on that stairway. And there is progress being made, and it's because of your leadership and the leadership of so many. And at the local level, folks are being inspired as well. Today's announcement is not just momentous because the science is clear and time for action is running out. It's also momentous because folks are meeting in Glasgow right now to talk about this on an international scale. So I think the timing is really, really good. So congratulations, Governor, on both winning re-election. We look forward to working with you on this announcement today and other initiatives beyond to protect our environment for our children and our grandchildren and for the families that depend on good jobs in our local community that can help and protect us from climate change, protect our health, and advance us to continue to be a leader and inspire the rest of the nation and the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed, and I appreciate you going through the steps we've taken. I don't think we have a choice, and I'll give you two reasons why before we sign this executive order. We're the most densely populated state in America, so you can't get a sort of, as they call it, a gentleman's C on the environment. It's a pass-fail reality. And secondly, a sad legacy is we have more Superfund sites than any other American state. So we have no choice but to take the steps that we've taken, including the ones today. I want to thank Rob again and Steve and the both local and county folks for hosting us so graciously today. I'm going to sign this right now, give out a couple of pens, and I'm not sure there are any members of the press. We'll take a couple of quick questions, and then we'll be off to the races. Thank you all again for showing up and helping out, folks. You work the pens?
The pens are in there. They should be.
You can pass them out, is that right?
Yes.
Dante Colucci here, my trusted colleague, is going to oversee the disbursement of some pens. Check to make sure that he doesn't slip in a counterfeit one. I cannot see a thing, so this will be the money shot. I don't know. Okay. First up, our host, Mayor Rob Greenbaum. Rob, thank you, man. Dante will get that to you. Thank you again. Guy to your left, Commissioner Sean LaTourette. you have an extra one?
Yes.
President Joe Fiordaliso. Joe. Pallavi Madakasira from our Economic Development Authority. Here's Pallavi. You might want to hold.
Yeah.
Quick run back. No, sorry.
Some exercise for today.
National Environmental Justice Director for Clean Water Action, Kim Gaddy. Kim, thank you. Executive Director of the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters, Ed Potosnek. Ed, thank you. And last but not least, I want to give one to County Commissioner Director Steve Shaw for hosting us so graciously today. That's it. This is now, it's not the law of the land, but it's the executive order of the land. It's a big step in a huge positive direction today. Thank you all. Is anybody here from the press? Okay. Thank you all for hosting us so graciously and for the big steps we're taking. Rob?